Ottoman Empire, also known as the Turkish Empire or Turkey. The Ottoman state became an empire with the conquest of Constantinople by Mehmed II in 1453. The Ottoman dynasty lasted for 623 years until the monarchy was abolished in 1922 and covered parts of Asia, Europe and Africa. This multinational, multilingual empire's economic aim was to increase revenues without drastic changes in the lives of the subjects, their commercial activities, and their traditional beliefs. Macedonian Empire. Alexander the Great's aim was to reach the ends of the world and the Great Outer Sea, as the king of Macedon. With that in mind, he was able to conquer territories that stretched from the Ionian Sea to the Himalayas. This feat made him one of the most successful commanders in history. Tang Dynasty. Despite the rifts in government affairs going into the second half of the Tang Dynasty, the art and culture of the era remained colorful and flourishing. With a population base of nearly 80 million people, the dynasty was able to raise up armies of hundreds of thousands of men to compete with the warring forces of Inner Asia. Golden Horde Khanate. The Kipchak Khanate, also referred to as the Golden Horde, was established in the 13th century in the Mongol Empire's northwestern sector. Originally a Mongol and later a Turkish Khanate, this empire lasted for a relatively short 100-year period until 1395. Mauryan Empire. Chandragupta Maurya founded this empire in 322 BC and it is the largest empire ever on the Indian subcontinent. Advancements in trade and commerce, and successful agricultural productivity were evident due to an economic system that was kept in check by the military and government. Hinduism, Buddhism and Jainism played an important role in the kingdom's governance and the kings and their subjects' lives. Göktürk Khanate. In 552, the first Turkish or Turk Empire was founded by Buman Khan and his sons. This nomadic confederation had extensive interaction with other kingdoms or dynasties from the northern part of China. 50 years after the collapse of the First Turkish Empire, the Second Turk Empire was established and controlled the eastern part of the previous kingdom. The Orkhon inscriptions that have been preserved and still exist until today were produced during that time. Nazi Germany. Adolf Hitler is perhaps one of the most infamous figures of the 20th century, as he controlled the government of the Third Reich. He also transformed it from a republic to a dictatorship, employing the process of Gleichschaltung. Although the Nazi government survived quite well and was even flourishing during the Great Depression when the world was in dire straits, its infamy arose to even more incredible heights due to their advocacy on racism, specifically anti-Semitism, causing the ruthless bloodshed that eventually came to be known as the Holocaust. Han Dynasty. Spanning over 4 centuries, the period of the Han Dynasty is considered a golden age in Chinese history. To this day, China's majority ethnic group refers to itself as the Han people, and the Chinese script is referred to as Han characters. Roman Empire. Many fundamental components of the modern world were influenced by the Roman Empire, which should come as no surprise considering that it was around for nearly 500 years. It had a profound and lasting influence on the development of language, religion, architecture, philosophy, law, and forms of government in the territory it governed, particularly Europe, and by means of European expansionism, the rest of the modern world. Ming Dynasty. The Empire of the Great Ming is the second to last imperial era in Chinese history. It is popularly described as one of the greatest eras of orderly government and social stability in human history. It is also the last dynasty that was ruled by the ethnic Han Chinese. Due to natural and man-made catastrophes, the Ming fell and paved the way for the last imperial dynasty, the Qing. Sassanid Empire. During its late antiquity period, the Sassanid Empire is known to have been one of Persia's most important and influential historical eras, as it stretched farther out to the western parts of Europe, Africa, China and India. It then played a significant role in the development of European and Asian medieval culture. Japanese Empire. As a member of the Axis alliance, who could forget how powerful the Japanese Empire was in World War II? As the largest maritime empire in history, Achaemenid Empire. In the 6th century, Cyrus the Great founded the First Persian Empire, or the Achaemenid Empire. Named after King Achaemenes, it spanned from the Indus Valley in the east, onto the northeastern border of Greece. Its line of monarchs aimed to unify the tribes and nationalities through the complex of roads that they constructed. If ranked by population percentage, this empire is the largest, with 44% of the world's population belonging to it. Empire of Brazil. The Empire of Brazil became the seat of the Portuguese colonial empire, but was made independent by the son of the king who made it as such. The Empire of Brazil was a parliamentary democratic constitutional monarchy of the 19th century that covered the areas of modern Brazil and Uruguay. Brazil was originally a colony of the Portuguese Empire, but became its center when the Prince Regent João VI fled the French invasion of Portugal in 1808. When João returned to Portugal, he left his son Pedro as regent of the autonomous Kingdom of Brazil. On the 7th of September 1822, Pedro declared Brazil to be an independent empire, and was acclaimed by the people as emperor. However, he abdicated in 1831 in favor of his young son Pedro II, whose reign saw 3 international wars and decades of economic prosperity and political stability. Pedro I, Pedro II and the entire imperial family of Brazil wanted the abolition of slavery. And on the 13th of May 1888, the imperial princess regent, Portuguese Empire, also known as the Portuguese Overseas Empire, was the first global empire in history, which spanned almost 6 centuries from 1415, when Ceuta was captured, until Macau's handover in 1999 to the grant of sovereignty to East Timor in 2002. All the territories that was once part of this overseas empire now is a part of 53 different sovereign states. Advancements in navigation, cartography and maritime technology allowed sailors to rediscover routes and places in surrounding territories, and as extensive as circumnavigating the globe. 9. Abbasid Caliphate. The Abbasid Caliphate was the successor of the Umayyad Caliphate, which was founded in Kufa in 750 CE and later established Baghdad as their capital in 762. Also known as the Islamic Golden Age. This period valued the intellectual capacity of their citizens and aims to maximize it to its full potential. This caliphate then became the intellectual center for the sciences, philosophy and education. French colonial empire, extending over 12 million square kilometers. These set of territories were under French rule from the 17th century to the late 1960s. During the 19th to 20th century, it was the second largest in the world next to the British Empire. France's conquest reached Africa and Southeast Asia with the idea that the higher races have the right to civilize the lower races. Yuan dynasty. Kublai Khan, the famous ruler in the 11th century, officially proclaimed the dynasty. Considered the successor of both the Mongol Empire and an imperial dynasty, the period bore the mandate of heaven. Also called the Empire of the Great Khan. Kublai Khan claimed the title of Great Khan as someone higher than the other successor Khanates. Qing dynasty. The Jurchenese Gyoro clan in northeastern China founded the Qing dynasty, which was the last imperial dynasty in Chinese history. Even if it was a Manchu-led dynasty, their culture became highly integrated into the Chinese culture. Typical government policies were followed alongside the ones brought in by the founder of the dynasty. Due to rebellions, natural catastrophes and getting defeated in wars against the Western kingdoms, the second of the four Islamic caliphates, it covered more than 5 million square miles, making it the largest Arab Muslim state in history. It employed the best administration system the world has yet to be seen and the fifth largest contiguous empire to exist. This period is also known as the Arab Golden Age. Originally from the city of Mecca, Damascus became its capital. Umayyad dynasty, also spelled Omayyad, the first great Muslim dynasty to rule the empire of the Caliphate, 661 to 750 CE. Sometimes referred to as the Arab Kingdom, reflecting traditional Muslim disapproval of the secular nature of the Umayyad state. The Umayyads, headed by Abu Sufyan, were a largely merchant family of the Quraysh tribe centered at Mecca. They had initially resisted Islam, not converting until 627, but subsequently became prominent administrators under Muhammad and his immediate successors. Spanish Empire. This empire was made of colonies and territories in Oceania, Asia, Africa, the Americas as well as Europe. It finds its origin in the Age of Exploration and was among the initial global empires. Spain's peak of economic as well as political power was reached during this era. Since the fall of Rome, there has been no empire based in Europe which extends outside the continent. This situation changes abruptly in the 16th century, when Spain and Portugal become the pioneers in a new era of colonization. The Iberian Peninsula is well poised at the time for this leap into the unknown. In the Great Voyages of Discovery, in the 15th century, the Portuguese have developed ocean-going skills which are eagerly copied by their Spanish neighbors. Spain's internal conflicts of recent centuries have recently been resolved with the union of Castile and Aragon and then, in 1492, the conquest of Granada. Russian Empire. After the Tsardom of Russia, this empire is the second largest contiguous in the world, stretching towards Eastern Europe, across Asia and North America. It existed between 1721 until the Russian Revolution of 1917. According to the 1897 census, there are 125.6 million subjects. Russian Empire. Historical empire founded on November 2, October 22. Old style. 1721. When the Russian Senate conferred the title of Emperor, Imperator, of all the Russias upon Peter I. The abdication of Nicholas II on March 15, 1917, marked the end of the empire and its ruling Romanov dynasty. The empire had its genesis when the Russian nobility sought a new bloodline for its monarchy. They found it in Michael Romanov, a young boyar nobleman, who was elected Tsar in 1613. The early Romanovs were weak monarchs. Crowned at age 17, Michael shared the throne during the crucial years of his reign with his father, the Patriarch Philaret. Mongol Empire. The Mongol World Empire was established in modern-day Mongolia, which was established by Genghis Khan and was declared as the ruler of all Mongols. Its emergence from the unification of the Mongol and Turkic tribes in modern-day Mongolia. Because of the advancements, new technologies and various commodities were disseminated. During Europe's High Middle Ages, the Mongol Empire, the largest contiguous land empire in history, began to emerge. The Mongol Empire began in the Central Asian steppes and lasted throughout the 13th and 14th centuries. At its greatest extent it included all of modern-day Mongolia, China, parts of Burma, Romania, Pakistan, Siberia, Ukraine, Belarus, Cilicia, Anatolia, Georgia, Armenia, Persia, Iraq, Central Asia, and much or all of Russia. Many additional countries became tributary states of the Mongol Empire. Mongolia and Indochina. From 1206 to 1368, the Mongol Empire spread out from the Mongolian steppes like a wildfire until British Empire. The British Empire was the largest empire by landmass that covered 33.7 million square kilometers. Because of its massive size, it is said that the sun never sets on the British Empire because it spans across the globe, ensuring that the sun was always shining on at least on every territory abroad. Everywhere which belongs to the crown. Its political, linguistic, and cultural legacy stretches far and wide. British Empire. A worldwide system of dependencies, colonies, protectorates, and other territories, that over a span of some 3 centuries was brought under the sovereignty of the Crown of Great Britain and the administration of the British government. The policy of granting or recognizing significant degrees of self-government by dependencies, which was favored by the far-flung nature of the empire, led to the development by the 20th century of the notion of a British Commonwealth. Quote,